5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
A pleasant good evening to you all. I am Jeremiah. Thank you for joining us this evening on Truth Music Radio, where the truth is always the right choice. Hope that you've had a productive evening thus far. This evening, my very special guest is Ras Jeremiah. He's a member of the Ethiopian World Federation. He's a Rastafarian and a fervent believer in Emperor Haile Selassie as divine. Join us this evening for this conversation as we get to know Ras a bit better and also the Rastafarian faith. Yes, good evening, Mr. Ras Jeremiah. How are you doing, sir?
Blessed man. Greetings.
Greetings. Thank you for coming onto the program this evening, sir. Looking forward for this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So can you tell the listening audience just a bit about yourself first?
Well, what can I say about myself?
You're...
I say, holy. What would you like me to say?
Yes, just, your day to day. You mentioned that you were a member of the Ethiopian World Federation.
Yes. I'm a member of the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated, which is a constitution that was set by the physician of His Imperial Majesty in 1937. Dr. Bayan, so.
Right.
Yeah.
What is the objective of the Ethiopian World Federation?
Well, during the invasion of the Italian fascist Mussolini in 1935, a lot of people was gathering around and wanting to help Ethiopia to get the invaders out of Ethiopia. But at the same time, there were a lot of people like we would call charlatans, gathering funds and everything and using it for themselves. So His Majesty sent one of his delegates, his personal physician, and they set an organization called the Ethiopian World Federation, which is by short the EWF.
Yes.
And firstly, they set a constitution, and then later on, His Imperial Majesty gave 500 hectares of fertile land for anybody in the diaspora that wishes to go home. And the aims and the objectives of the Ethiopian World Federation, I'll give you a synopsis of the preamble.
Yes.
The name and the aims of the objectives. Section 1. The name of this organization shall be the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated. Number 2. The aims and objectives of the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated shall be A. To promote love and goodwill amongst Ethiopians at home and abroad, and thereby maintain the integrity and the sovereignty of Ethiopia. To disseminate the ancient Ethiopian culture amongst its members, to correct abuse, relieve oppression, carve for ourselves and our prosperity a destiny compatible with our ideals of perfect manhood and God's purpose in creating us, that we may only save ourselves from annihilation, but carve for ourselves a place in the sun. In this endeavor, we determine to seek peace and pursue it, for it is the man. And it goes on, you know.
It goes on.
To promote happiness for it is a goal of the human life to endeavor. You know, yeah, so
I see.
that is the purpose of the
Okay.
and yeah.
Well, thank you for adding to that understanding. Let's go into it, Ras Jeremiah, this evening. So you are a Rastafarian. Am I correct? Yes.
Yes. I'm a Rastafarian.
You're a Rastafarian. Now,
Yes.
were you born in the UK? Are you from the UK originally?
Yes, I was born in the UK.
In the UK. So you've always been a Rasta from birth.
I would say from at least from the age of 10,
Yes.
probably 9, I was attracted to, you know, the Rastafari ideology.
Uh-huh. And your parents, forgive me.
My parents they're Christians, they're Catholics. So I was brought up in the Catholic faith and so for it.
Yes. So where did that attraction then come from, seeing that your parents weren't of that persuasion?
Well, I mean, so when I'm talking about like from about 10 years old.
Uh-huh.
So I'm talking about from like 1972, you know?
Yes.
Leading up. Say 1970, 72, you get the track, but because in those times, it was a very difficult times for us as a people just settling there.
Yes.
You know, times of Teddy Boys, you know, segregation, can't get no housing, and you feel. So I would say that it is. I mean, for me, I would say when it really hit on the head for me, because obviously growing up in school, in England and everything, from primary school level and everything, the amount of racial abuse you've received and everything, and you feel at the bottom.
Yes.
You don't feel yourself.
Uh-huh.
And there was a period I would never forget. It was 1970 when it's like everything is like the bottom dropped, because at that period, and I could really remember the time as well, because it was a summer 1970.
Yes.
And I'll tell you the last thing that happened, that this rubbed it off, and it's like your eyes open like a light bulb, because at that time Muhammad Ali was a champion boxer.
Yes, yes.
Gary Silvers was the baddest cricketer on the land.
Uh-huh.
And then in the summer 1970, Brazil won the World Cup with Pele, Jairzinho and everything. It's like black is power.
Yes.
Yes.
So, go on.
So Rastafari kind of draw the Africanism to one. It makes you feel. So that attracted me.
So where did you see this? Was this on the media? Did a Rasta man come to you and taught you? Where did that?
Well, I mean, at them time, the Rasta was the ones that was really educating, showing you, you know, the right from wrong, what you shouldn't eat.
Uh-huh.
You know, where you come from. Because you never get those teachings from anywhere else.
Yes.
You know, you just act European.
Mm-hmm.
So Rasta kind of give you that culture, that identity.
Yes.
You know, reggae music, you know.
Uh-huh.
Burning Spear.
Yes.
You know, Marcus Garvey.
Uh-huh.
You know.
Yes, which we'll speak on in a bit. So you are now at that age, and you have been introduced to the Rastafarian belief. What did your community make of it? What did your parents make of it? What did your friends make of it?
No, well, my parents never. That wasn't pleasing to them, was it?
Right.
Yeah, because you've gone the other way. Where do you get these ideas from? So, yeah. So you feel a bit of you're kind of outcasted.
So you were looked upon as a wayward.
Yeah.
You have wandered from the faith.
Yeah.
So how did you deal with that that difference within the house, within your home?
Well, obviously you're not feeling comfortable because you really don't want to. You don't really want to take in it because obviously you go to school here and everything is like you feel like you're being treated different.
Yes.
Yeah. So you feel more at home where you feel loved and you're being educated, showing things and knowing other things. Obviously coming from, being born in England and you're meeting new people with new things and,
yes.
you become self-sufficient. You can do things with your hands. You don't. So it was a new classroom.
Yes. Then let me ask you, tell the listening audience, what is Rastafari or Rastafarism?
Well, listen, I can't speak for all Rasta.
Yes.
Yeah? Because every man is an individual.
Yes, man.
But me personally, I wouldn't say my belief, because if I believe in something, I feel like I'm in doubt.
Yes.
But my theory, and I would say my philosophy, a Rastaman is a man, and any man is a man, but especially if it says a Rastaman, is a man should have knowledge. And it's supposed to be able to convey that knowledge. And most importantly, it must be a good listener.
Yes.
He's an educator.
Yes. The reason I asked to clarify this for the listening audience is that the name itself, Rastafari, obviously comes from the Emperor Haile Selassie, Ras meaning head, and Tafari, his birth name, Tafari Makonnen. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes, so his head Tafari.
Right, so my understanding or my comprehension of the word Ras,
yes.
The word Ras means not only the head, but it also can mean like the Duke.
The Duke.
Yeah. And a Duke is like a rank.
Yes.
Under a king.
Yes.
So yes, the head, yeah. So, Ras is you can say Ras is a Duke.
Yes.
Because before he became, he was Rastafari, and then obviously him get crowned Kings of Kings.
Yes. I wanna touch on Haile Selassie in a minute, but let me come back to this. Is Rastafarian a religion or a culture? Or a movement? How do you define it?
For me, it is a culture.
Yes.
It's a culture, It's a way of life.
A way of life, yes.
Yeah.
And let's go back, because Haile Selassie is central to the Rastafarian culture. He is integral to this whole understanding. Now, when you listen to many Rastas or Rastafarians, they profess or they take Selassie to be more than a mortal man, in the sense that he's God. They call him Jah. They call him, the creator, and many other titles. Let me ask you this. Can you clarify for the listening audience, who is Haile Selassie to you?
Well, in a nutshell, for me personally.
Yes, sir.
Haile Selassie for me is like my shepherd, is my guide.
Yes.
What he stands for, because the question has been asked to His Imperial Majesty. Imperial Majesty, we hear that people say you're in the incarnation of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was being interpreted. So someone said it in English, someone repeated it to him in his language. He answered it in his language, and the person reinterpreted it.
Yes.
And what the person reinterpreted, it says, it goes like this. His Imperial Majesty said he's heard those rumors. Yeah? And if people want to say that he is, who is he to deny their faith? But he doesn't want no man, but he's turned and said that he is immortal like any other man, and he doesn't want any man to think a man is more powerful.
Is that something in the background?
Yeah. He doesn't want any man to think a man is God, and there is no great God is going to come out from the sky and help one. But what really, one of the things that really draw me to Rastafari is that, and Marcus Garvey as a thing, there is something very, they've got something, a common denominator that grabs me. One thing they deal with is education is the key out of ignorance. You know, education.
So let me ask you this, because there are so many things to discuss in order, and I want the listening audience to get a feel, because we're trying to give some understanding to the Rastafarian culture or movement or faith, as some people profess. So when it comes to, like what you've just said, that Haile Selassie is your shepherd, are you stating that because obviously the Rastafarians, I've spoken to many Rastas and they actually read the Torah and Tanakh, which is the Bible. Am I correct? Mm-hmm. Right.
Yes,
so when you read the scriptures, it speaks of the shepherd, the great shepherd, the good shepherd.
Yeah.
Are you saying that Haile Selassie is that good shepherd? Based on the scriptures?
Well, you see, that's another thing.
Go on.
See, all right then. Now, we've all been educated.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, we speak a language that is not even ours. Yeah. Now, in the dialect that we speak,
yes,
there's certain rules that govern the language. Yeah. Which one of them is a dictionary. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, if we look at the word God, and you ask yourself, let's put this in a context.
Yes.
Because this is where, you know, we got to alleviate ourselves from ignorance. Yeah? God. Would you say God is a noun?
Well, God, a noun is a name of a person, place, or such a thing. So
okay.
The word God it really is a plural word. It's Elohim. In the English is Elohim. So
now we're going to go into semantics.
No. You were asking
no.
if it's a name.
What I'm saying is these words that we use.
Yes.
Yeah. We're speaking English, and English is governed by there's certain laws that governs what we speak. Now, if a noun is a place, person, or thing,
yes,
would we put the word God in that bracket?
Well, the thing about it, Ras Jeremiah, and I hope the listening audience can stay with us on this, is that when we speak of, like, for instance, when a Rastaman say that Selassie is God, we understand the ancient tongue, which is coming from the ancient Hebrew, which would be Elohim or Elohim in the English, as they say. And we know that's a plural word, the word God. So we understand when a Rastaman says God, this is what I'm trying to get to. Is he saying Selassie is the Father, the Creator? Is he saying Selassie is the Son of the Creator? What is he saying when he say that Selassie is God? This is not me saying this. This is Rastafarian saying this. So we just trying to understand this concept.
But you're telling me what Rastafarians are saying. I'm telling you what I'm saying.
Repeat what you were saying then.
I'm saying to you, yeah, you know, this is where where we get muddled up
Yes.
within the dialogue. You understand? Because I'm asking you a direct question. No, you're telling me about Elohim and everything, but this, English is governed by certain laws. Nouns, vowels, verbs. I'm saying to you, if the word God, would you put the word God and say it is a noun?
No, it's not a name of a person, a place, or a thing.
Okay. So, is God a verb?
A verb is an action word. It's a doing word.
Okay. So, for me, anything that we're looking for, we have to look within ourselves. You understand? Because that's why we don't come up with, that's why, our concepts and our ideologies, is wayward.
So, forgive me, Ras Jeremiah, but what are you saying pertaining to God and my question of Haile Selassie? I'm not following so closely.
You're not following me.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Because you want me to. All right then. What I'm gonna say to you is like we have searched for God, because for me the word God, for me the way I see it. You know what I mean? We are all children. If that's the bracket you want to put it, then all of us are the children of God. Then we are all gods.
Yeah, we are the children of God. But I was just specifically asking, just from your point of view, when it comes to, obviously it's out there, Selassie being God. You understand? And I understand you are trying to clear up the whole God aspect of it. But I'm asking you, we are the children of God, but is that God, in our limited English language understanding, is that God Selassie?
Well, I think we're limited. Our thinking of God is very limited.
So is Selassie created then? Because that's another, when you look up, they say that Tafara is head creator. So I'm trying to understand this thing a bit more.
It's just titles, isn't it?
So he's not really a creator then. It's not that he's the creator. The concept of them saying he's creator is not an actual creator. He's just bearing the title of the creator, the real creator. Is that what you're saying?
In my interpretation, I would say that.
Right. So these are just titles that he's holding. It's not to say he is creator or he is the Messiah or anything like that. It's just a title.
But what we do know him is the Kings of Kings. He was crowned the Kings of Kings and the Lords of Lords, the conquering Lion of the...
What does...
Yes.
Yes, and I'm glad you touched on that, because you are right. Selassie was crowned. It says his title, the conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah, His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie, and it says elect of God. And when the statement is made, King of Kings, are we saying that he is Selassie the man? I'm talking. Is he the King of all kings, the Lord of all lords?
So you've misunderstood. See, what the man stand for, the man stand for many things. You know, for humanity.
Yes.
Love, educate yourself. Don't be no fool in this time.
So again, go on.
So it opened my eyes, so I can't just be tricked.
Yes.
Into believing things. You understand?
So obviously in his title, elect of God and so on, these are just titles again that he holds according to what you're saying. Let me ask you this. It is said that Emperor Haile Selassie brought Ethiopian orthodoxy to places like Jamaica in 1966. And it is also said that he himself is a member or was a member of the Orthodox Church. And a lot of Rastafarians are actually a member of that Orthodox church. So the fact that if somebody says then that a Rasta should also be a member of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, would that be correct? Or why aren't all Rastafarians a part of the church then, believing in the Messiah? Because Selassie, according to them, believed in the Messiah of the Bible.
Well, His Majesty was a defender of the Orthodox Church. But you have to remember, before we did know His Majesty's name was Selassie. Yes. Yeah, because his name of Selassie never only revealed during his coronation in 1930. Mm-hmm. You understand? That's when the name was coined.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, already a lot of people was doing their own things. And as knowledge increase and move on.
Yes.
Then, because when you're stuck in a belief.
Yes.
And then things change. Sometimes it could have a negative effect. Yeah. So a lot of people's frying up churches.
But many would say that the Ethiopian Orthodox Church is the real church, because obviously if Emperor Haile Selassie is the defender of that particular faith, then it's the real church. Is that correct?
Well, I wouldn't say it was a real church, but it's an ancient church.
So should all Rastafarians then be a member of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church?
Well, I believe, if I was going to, I'm not a churchgoer. And it's not that, it's not to say I'm not a churchgoer, but I've got other commitments.
Yes.
I look after my folks and everything. So, but I visit the Orthodox Church and if I was going to go to a church, the Orthodox Church, I would be going to.
Yes.
But every man's got his own choice to do what he really, what he really wants to do.
Yes.
Who am I to tell a man that what he should do and what he shouldn't do? Because I know Rastas that goes to other churches, and they're my Rasta.
And let me ask you this particular questions. Do all Rastas, let me ask you this. You stated that you also read the Bible, yes? Do you accept all the books of the Bible as a Rastafarian?
If I was to say to you that I understand all the books of the Bible. Because you see, that within itself, there is misinterpretation, You see, English is a funny word, there's one word can mean 33 things.
Yes.
So I don't feel so we still have deciphered the code of the Bible. So you might as well say, yes, I believe, because when you believe in something, you're in doubt.
Yes.
I wouldn't say that I know it. Probably I would be in a belief, because there's a lot of things that I have a problem with.
Right. Right. So there are some chapters or scriptures that you don't accept because you feel like there is some discrepancies.
Yeah.
Right. Have you got any of those discrepancies that you can call to mind?
Well, I could call one. I kind of maybe remember the exact Psalms, but in one of the Psalms it says, Ethiopia shall stretch forth our hands unto God.
Yes. And
then I've got a revised version and everything, King James English version and everything, and it says, Ethiopia soon will stretch forth our hands to God. There's a discrepancy. Soon and shall.
Yes. But one would say, does that that little discrepancy, does it change the overall understanding of that particular verse?
What would you think?
I would think I can still get the understanding from it, but I see what you're saying. But it wouldn't shake my faith because of that, because it seemed to me that it's saying basically the same thing. But let me ask you this while we're on the subject of Ethiopia. Obviously, Rastafarians claim, descent and state that Ethiopia is the land, is their land and so forth. Are you of the same understanding that you're an Ethiopian and why?
Would I say I'm Ethiopian and why?
Yes.
Well, we look to Ethiopia. We look to Ethiopia because that is where we. Sometimes it's like I don't want to move the goalposts when it suits me, but and that is the aim, Ethiopia, because that is where we see, according to scriptures and everything, Ethiopia. Because even in the beginning of the Bible, it tells you where the Garden of Eden lies.
Where is that? Where does it lie?
I haven't got my scripture with me, but in the land of Cush.
And Cush is descended.
Is that where the beginning of the Nile?
Right. So you're tracing it back to Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You touch on Cush, and many Rastafarians actually sing of this. I mean, the legendary Robert Nesta Marley, Ras Jeremiah, Bob Marley as he's better known, he states in one of his songs that in Ham is known to be the prophet. And obviously Ham is coming from Noah's son, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And the Cushites descend also from Ham. So, according to Bob Marley, the Cushites, are the prophetic lineage. And now you're saying that the Garden of Eden is also in Ethiopia.
Well, you know what? I never wrote it, is it? Was I the one who wrote it? I never wrote it, did I?
So it's interesting, Ras, because in Ethiopia, there are some people that's living in Ethiopia, and I'm sure you will have known this, being a member of the Ethiopian World Federation. And there are a group of people living in Ethiopia called the Falashas. Are you aware of that? Yes.
I'm aware of that.
And they call them the Jews, the Jews.
Mm-hmm.
Are the Jews Ethiopians that are there, or are the Jews descend from, since you said Cush, which is Ham, coming from Ham, from Noah's other children, like Shem? Because there's some different school of thought on that. What's your thought on the Jews there, the Falashas?
Well, I have seen some documentaries of them. You know what I mean? And it's you know, and some of the report. I don't know really much about the Flashers.
Yes.
Yeah, but as I said, I've seen some documentaries, and even according to the people who call themselves Jews today,
yes,
some of them say that they practice the order even more refined than they do. You know, and how did they get to do that? If they are not.
Yes. The reason I'm asking, because some of the scriptures you quoted, like that deals with the diaspora or the scattering of the Jews all over the earth, it traces their lineage back to Shem and not to Ham.
Okay.
So these are Shemites. The Jews, the children of Israel, the children of Jacob. So, you know, there are viewpoints to show that these people that have been scattered are actually from the lineage of Shem, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the 12 sons of Jacob, the 12 tribes, and not going back to Ham. But let me ask you this, Ras, what are the different sects of Rastafarianism? The different, you know, because I gather you have Nyabingi and so on. What are the different sects, and what sects do you belong to?
Well, you know, for me personally,
yes,
I see a Rastaman as a Rastaman. Yeah. And I'm gonna be honest with you. It's only about 20 years ago.
Yes.
I realized there was so much sects, so much different sets of Rasta.
Yes.
You know, Baba Shanti.
Yes.
You know.
12 tribes.
12. You have the 12 tribe of Israel.
And especially that. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, the Nyabingi order. And you might, and then you got, and to tell you the truth, there is people from 12 tribe that used to be members of the Ethiopian Federation.
Yes.
There's some people who is members of both.
I know this because in Jamaica you have one sect that you've just mentioned, the 12 tribes sect, and as it's kind of pertinent to the discussion that we're having, because they trace their lineage not to Ham but to Shem, because to Shem comes the righteous lineage of the prophets, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and so on and so forth. And those of the diaspora from the slave trade, they also state in their songs and the history that they are the real Jews, the real children of Israel. So obviously within the sects they differ in some of the understandings.
Well, you know, see, now I've listened to a interview with His Imperial Majesty.
Yes.
The same one. And they asked His Imperial Majesty that that he's traced his lineage from far back as to Adam and Eve.
That's Selassie's lineage? Yes?
Yeah. And his reply to, the person who interpreted what he said these are stories that's been told throughout generations of my family.
Yes.
You know? So, for me, for me, it's like we're so, what can I say, adamant in our beliefs.
Yes.
Yeah, and what I found, this is how made us live together as one. You know.
Yes. Do you?
Because even though I am a member of the Ethiopian Federation, I haven't been an active member as one should be.
Right, I see.
Because of these same kind of discrepancies.
Yes.
Because everybody wants to be right. Because if you're right, then I'm wrong. You know?
Right.
Where do we find this middle ground to avoid this annihilation of ourselves?
Yes.
And a lot of our problems, what I find, is probably trying to convey what we want to say.
Yes.
You know, this thing, what we want, where we want to get through. Everybody's got their own ideas, and is right. Because, you know, listening is a key.
Yes.
Because everyone sees it from a different... You know, the main thing, we need to have a consensus of what we're saying, especially when we speak in English. Because I'm saying something to you, and I might understand what I'm trying to say, but still I need to explain to you what I mean. Why is it I can't say what I mean what I say?
I hear you. Let me ask you this, Ras Jeremiah. I'm sure you have this book. It's called The Keber Negas, The Glory of the Kings.
Yep.
Right, and you know, it's an accepted book within the Rastafarian faith. I mean, the Rastas claim that they use it to trace Menelik and his descent through Solomon, the son of David. Right. Now, is that so according to the Keber Negas? Is Menelik truly descended from David through Solomon?
Which Menelik? Menelik the first?
Yes, the son of Solomon. That according to.
Well, I mean, see, there you go again.
Go on.
This information. It could be misinformation or anything, but even this is according to the legend.
Yes.
Everywhere that is taught, that's so the case. That Menelik is the son of Sheba, Queen of Sheba, Queen
Makeda, yes, or Bilqis.
Yeah, Queen Makeda. Yeah, because Sheba is a place.
Yes.
So I think you've had many queens of Sheba.
Yes.
But this particular Sheba was
Makeda, yes.
Yeah, apparently the legend is that she went to meet Solomon, the wisest man, and so forth. Yeah, she left him, or he tricked her into sleeping before she left, and then she had this child.
Yes.
And this child so forth left from Ethiopia and went to meet Solomon.
Yes.
Yes.
You use quite a profound word, Ras Jeremiah. You said the legend. So is it not written in the Keber Negas that Solomon laid down with Makeda and conceive as a result Menelik the first?
Yeah.
It's not written there. It's just a legend.
Well, well, you know what? I've never put it this way. I've never even read that in the Keber Negas. But my understanding of the Keber Negas is now that was one of the what's the English interpretation of the Negas? Is the
Glory of the Kings.
Yeah, Glory of the Kings.
Yes.
Apparently, in 1867, the British Army went to Ethiopia, and Magdala was I think at that time the capital for Ethiopia was a place Magdala. Magdala, and Empress Toyodos was the emperor.
Yes.
And apparently the British Army went to war, and they cannoned them, and they looted all the church stuff and everything. Now, the Keber Negas was kept in Britain until after His Imperial Majesty was crowned.
Yes.
And the copy was given back to him. They had a book for 200 years, and His Imperial Majesty had it translated in 20 years.
Yes.
Because apparently he said he couldn't rule his country without that book.
Yes.
Now that book is partly spiritual and circular.
So you're saying the Kebra Nagast is spiritual?
It's compiled in two parts.
Right.
One part is spiritual and one part is is more circular.
Right.
You know, what you mustn't do. You know, if a man's got his house there, you can't just come and take it. It's got certain laws.
So is it held in higher regards than the Bible? Because all of that is written within the Bible. So is it on the same par? Within the Rastafarian movement? Is a Kebra Nagast on the same level?
Yes, it's yeah.
Right.
It's a very important book.
I see.
The glory of the kings.
I see. Let me ask you this off the backdrop of that. Notable Rastafarians like Peter Tosh and again Bob Marley and to name a few, they all sing in their songs about chanting down Babylon, burn down Babylon. Ras Jeremiah. What is Babylon? What is Babylon? Is it a physical place? What is it?
Well, me personally,
yes,
I would say, boy, Babylon is a system.
It's a system.
You know, that rules people through propaganda and fear.
Right. And where are they getting this understanding from? Is that from the Kebra Nagast?
You know, things. You know, what I mean, things move on, doesn't it? Nothing stays the same, is it? You know, probably what a man said today, he's not going to say today. What he said yesterday, he's not going to say today.
So they shouldn't have been saying that, or if they were still around today, they wouldn't have been saying chant down Babylon.
Well, probably they might be using a different term. You know what I mean? That was a terminology at that time. You know?
Right.
Because Babylon's got many interpretations, isn't it? You know, if I say to you Babylon will come now, I'm sure I'm sure what's going to revolve around your brain.
Yes, the concept of the security forces, huh?
Okay.
But other than that, you're saying Babylon is a system.
Yeah, well, he has a system.
Peter Tosh sing a famous song, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with Peter Tosh's music, but he sing a famous song called Mystery Babylon. Mystery Babylon, that needs to fall. He's saying in the song, Mystery Babylon, your kingdom has fallen, is fallen.
Yeah.
So he's reading this from the Kebra Nagast.
You know what, Peter Tosh is a much older man than me, so I wouldn't know where I read it from.
Right. I would say that he's reading it from the Bible, but you being a Rastafarian, I'm sure you have your persuasion. But let me ask you this. They also speak of the Pope and the Vatican. What do you think of the Pope and the Vatican? And Rome. They speak of Rome, the Pope and the Vatican. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I know, for me, I know what he thinks of himself or what he thinks of his position.
Which is what?
Well, their idea or his idea is that if you want to go to heaven, you've got to go through him.
So Rastafarians see the Pope as an enemy?
Well, I don't think he's a lover of us, is he?
Because many songs burn him out.
Yeah.
I see. And tell me something, Raz. I'm enjoying the conversation. They also sing of the Ark of the Covenant. I'm sure you've heard this. The Ark of the Covenant. Do the Ethiopians actually have the Ark of the Covenant, as they say?
Well, see, that goes back to, again, according to the story that's been told, Menelik took it or stole it and brought it back to Ethiopia.
Yes.
But did you know every Orthodox church has got a replica of the Ark?
They have a replica, okay.
Yeah.
But they haven't got the original Ark of the Covenant, just a replica.
Well, I wouldn't know that, because according to where it's kept in Axum, that nobody can see it, and it's been protected by, not protected by, it's been overseen by some high priest.
I see. So they claim to have it.
Yeah.
Right. I once hear somebody said if they had it, why didn't they use it against Mussolini? Would that be a fair assumption?
And they said His Majesty was the Ark.
His Majesty was what?
The Ark.
Haile Selassie was the Ark.
Yeah, I once said that to somebody. Why didn't they? And that's what they said. And I thought, okay.
So Selassie was the protection. But what would you say? Selassie had to seek refuge in exile in Britain.
Yeah.
All right. Let's let me ask you this, Ras Jeremiah. What is, just clarify for me, please, in a nutshell, what is the Trinity to you as a Rastaman?
Well, the Trinity.
Yes.
Trinity. The word tree. Trinity. 3 in 1, 1 in 3. According to the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
So would that just be a title again, or does this Trinity actually exist?
Rephrase that question.
I was asking about the Trinity, which you've mentioned, the three, the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So I'm asking if that's just a title, or does the Trinity, which is my understanding is the Godhead, does that exist for real in the heavens, or do you see the Trinity in the person of Emperor Haile Selassie? You know what? I've never been asked it.
Never been asked that before, and it's something that I've never really given
a thought
before.
That's absolutely fine. Let me touch on the last thing, because with time is winding down. Let me touch on another thing that is central to the Rastafarian faith or movement or culture, as you put it, is the smoking of ganja, herb, marijuana, the weed. Do you smoke the weed?
When I feel for it, I do.
Right. And is smoking ganja or marijuana, the weed, central to the Rastafarian faith? Are you smoking it because you're a Rastafarian? Is that part of your service, or you have to smoke weed because you're a Rastafarian?
Well, no, because not all Rasta smoke.
Right.
Not all Rastaman smoke.
But there are some. There are some. Go on.
But the herb is being I would say being used in a different kind of form than when I would say you know, 30, 40 years ago.
Uh-huh.
You know, because it was used in a more spiritual way.
What do you mean by that? Spiritual way?
Well, we use it as one of our sacraments, you know.
To do what?
Well, just the burning and the smelling of the herbs and chanting and praying over it. The idea is that all the smoke rise up to the heavens. The prayers go in it.
So this the smoke in this is like an incense. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Right. Why the herb? Why have you chosen to smoke the herb?
Well, you know what? It's not me chose to smoke the herb.
So where is the authority coming from? Because like you mentioned, you claim it's a sacrament. Where is the authority coming from that, you know, this should actually be smoked in, you know, for, as a sacrament?
Well, you know, it's like, the way you can't ask me why it happened, because it's been happening before I was around. But the idea, as I said to you, the way it's used today and the way it was used in the past is different. You know, and probably that could be because of an economical reason as well. Because you can't use it in that way because it's expensive, isn't it?
I see. And if I am a Rasta, Ras Jeremiah, and I decide to take the THC out of the herb and just smoke that, would that be accepted? Would that be considered sacrament as well? If I remove the THC from it? Because the THC is the active ingredient to make one high. So what if I remove that?
No, but you say, me personally, I can't govern that. Someone else might have a problem with it.
Right.
That's kind of what I mean. But I am not the law, am I?
Right. But I'm just saying though, if I do that, it shouldn't be a problem, should it? If I remove the THC.
I won't find it a problem.
Right. And it is said that it was found on Solomon's grave. So that's is that true? Is that, have you come into any?
If you believe in all them something, then it's like, because I could go into a whole subject. I could go into a whole subject of this, really. You know, because you know these things is a lot of stories.
Yes.
You know. Soul on man, you know,
yes.
Soul Lord, you know, the sun, you know. Because a lot of this religious thing is astrology, and
a lot of the what?
A lot of the religious movement and everything,
yes,
you know, is to do with the movements in the heavens. You know.
Yes.
The 7 laws of Tuti, you know?
Right. I see Rastafarians doing a thing where when they smoke, they actually chant and they say a prayer. Do you do that? And they read as well. So, go on.
Yes, when we gather, I have Naya Bingi and pray and chant, yeah.
Right.
Bring a oneness.
And you pray, I hear them, you pray in what? You pray to Selassie? Yeah, because I see the Rastas like Chuck Fender and all those guys, they pray in the name of Selassie. Is that how you...
Yeah.
Right.
We call him the name of Rastafari, Emperor Haile Selassie the First.
Right. But you see, Ras, Jeremiah, this is where the conflict is because, like we stated at the top of the program, when I asked you to define who Selassie was, and you said what he carried was title, and that's all it is. So it would be strange to somebody from the outside hearing a prayer being conducted in the name of Selassie when, according to your declaration, he's nothing more than a man. You can see the confusion?
No, there's no confusion.
No.
He is my shepherd. He's my good shepherd.
So he's the one that was laid in a manger.
If you want to interpret it that way, I'll be simple.
I hear you.
You understand?
Yes, sir. And let me ask you one final point. What is your take on what's going on in the world today with the so-called pandemic and all of that, in a nutshell?
Say that again?
What is your thought on what's happening across the world?
Well, where's my thoughts?
Yes, what is your viewpoint from a Rastafarian perspective on the current world crisis, the pandemic?
Well, what I can say, if we're looking for anything to be the same, we may as well pack up and die right now, right? Because we're coming into a new time, new age, and if you don't understand it, it doesn't really matter.
Yes. Yes.
Because right now, as we come into this technology age, the human resources has become redundant. Yeah.
What's the answer, Ras Jeremiah? What's the answer to all of this?
What is the answer?
Yes. What's the solution?
Well, is a mindset. Our minds have to change, because I think what we're doing, we're trying to, fix the new things with the old methods.
Yes.
And it's not happening.
I see.
Because the order of today is economics. And we're not there. We're not with it. We're all over the place.
Well, thank you, Ras Jeremiah. This concludes our interview this evening. I truly want to thank you for taking the time out to speak to us on Profiler and on Truth Music Radio, sir. I wish you all the best and have a very good evening.
And yourself too, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We'll be in touch. Thank you very much.
Bless.
Well, there you have it, listening audience. That concludes our conversation with Ras Jeremiah. He's a member, again, of the Ethiopian World Federation. You've heard his viewpoint on Rastafarianism and his defense of Haile Selassie as, I believe he's alluding to God. There's somewhat of a confusion, but I hope that you found the conversation enlightening nonetheless. And it can serve, again, to strengthen your belief, as you know, in the scriptures, the Bible. And, as we urge listeners to do from week to week, do your research, look into the things that we discuss. And, knowledge is key. I am Jeremiah. I wish you all a very peaceful and productive rest of the week. It's been a pleasure presenting this program for you this evening on Truth Music Radio. Remember to download the app, spread the news of the program, the broadcast, and keep supporting Truth Music Radio. Until next time, war good.